Swami Niti Namine.
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvite Sashunyavadi Bhakti-jyarite dharine. Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parabhidakacharya Asidhara Situshi Shiman, His Divine Grace Shalasi Bhaktivedanta Smarad Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande Haribo, Slava Zavrani Bhaktam, Slava Shri Guru Ishi Gaurangi. Om Magana Tamanandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Pandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudha Para Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vidham Tam Sajivam Sarvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakan Zvitam Scha. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishubhanu Siddha Devi Pranamami Hri Priye Vanchakapa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 4, Transcendental Knowledge, text number 41. Yoga Sannyasta Karmanam Yana Sanchina Samshayam Atmavantam Nakarmani Nibbānanti dhananjaya yoga sannyasta karmanam jnana sanchina samshayam atmavantam na karmani nibbānanti dhananjaya yoga sannyasta karmanam jnana sanchina samshayam atmavantam na karmani nibbānanti dhananjaya yoga sannyasta karmanam jnana sanchina samshayam atmavantam na karmani nibbānanti dhananjaya. Yoga sannyasta karmanam jnana sanchina samshayam atmavantam na karmani nibbānanti dhananjaya. Ladies. Yoga sannyasta karmanam jnana sanchina samshayam atmavantam na karmani nibbānanti dhananjaya. Yoga by devotional service in karma yoga. Sannyasta, one who is renounced. Karmanam, the fruits of actions. Jnana, by knowledge. Sanchina, cut. Samshayam, doubts. Atmavantam, situated. In the self. Na, never. Karmani, works. Nibbānanti, do bind. Dhananjaya, O conqueror riches. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his actions, and whose doubts are destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus he is not bound by the reactions of work, O conqueror riches. Please repeat. One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his actions, and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus he is not bound by the reactions of work. O conqueror of riches. Purport. One who follows the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita as it is imparted by the Lord, the personality who guided himself, becomes free from all doubts by the grace of transcendental knowledge. He is part and parcel of the Lord in full Krishna consciousness as already established in self-knowledge. As such, he is undoubtedly above bondage to action. Yoga sannyasta karmanam jnana sanchina samshayam atmavantam na karmani nibbānanti dhananjaya. One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his actions, whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus he is not bound by the reactions of work, or conquer riches. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vicharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskadyade Satarane. Devotional service has different aspects. One of them is action and the other is consciousness. As Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, that the purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to understand that He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore, when we're speaking, we have to speak about two things. One is how to utilize our body in Krishna service, the life air, and how to put our consciousness on Krishna in order to achieve either Tushanti or Ramanti. Tushanti means to gradually become purified, and therefore not to do our activities out of devotion for Krishna without attachment to the results. In other words, if one is actually in a different platform of awareness, other than the material awareness, then the results don't really mean very much. Here in the material world, everything depends upon if we're gaining something or if we're losing something. And sometimes what we gain, we want to lose. And what we lose, we want to get back. We're pretty confused around here. Therefore, Krishna consciousness means whether we lose or we gain, it's not so significant as the fact that we're actually enjoying on the platform of Krishna consciousness. On the platform of Krishna consciousness, everything is enjoyable. There's nothing but enjoyment on the platform, and love, and ever-expanding consciousness and pleasure on the platform of Krishna consciousness. And on the platform of material consciousness, there's a hope to get a little bit of happiness. There's a hope. And sometimes it appears momentarily some little bit of happiness, and then we're back in the cycle of working to get happiness. Therefore, yoga sannyasta karmana. The main problem in the material world is soshati and kankshati. We're hankering for another situation, a better situation, and we're lamenting that even when we get the better situation, either it's not going to last or it wasn't quite what we wanted. Therefore, it often winds up in courting. You know what courting means? When men and women get together and they court each other. After the courting is over, then they usually wind up in court, trying to get rid of each other. So that's material existence. It's like chewing gum. At first there's some sweetness in it, but we know that the sweetness is only going to last for some period of time. And then after the sugar is out of the gum, then one is simply working one's jaw. And after some time, one gets tired, the jaw gets tired, and you go, and that's the end of the gum. You've chewed out all the sweetness, and now you want to spit it out. So on the material platform, I'm always afraid the sugar is going to go, the sugar is going to go. What am I going to do? But on the spiritual platform, the sugar is always getting sweeter. So therefore, there's no fear. That we can only hear about when we're in conditioned life, but we could try to get a little taste of it, and that will give us some hope that we can actually achieve that state of consciousness in the future. And doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge. So in the material world, we hear Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We hear He's the Super Soul in our heart. We hear actually He's the Super Soul in everyone's heart, that everyone's eternal. But because we don't always act like that, therefore we have so many doubts. Even though we may not be conscious of our doubts, but we have so many misgivings. Although Krishna is everywhere and everything is under His control, still we have doubts and therefore we have misgivings about what's going on. We watch the news to find out what's going on, But actually what we're doing is we're watching people in ignorance telling us what's going on, giving us some idea from their point of view, from the illusory point of view, what they think is going on. Little do they see the laws of karma, Krishna's purpose. They don't understand actually very much, but they're taken as an authority, and they're given so much opportunities to broadcast to so many people to give them the same perspective of ignorance that they're in. And if we go out and tell people the truth, how many TV cameras come around and ask us, oh saintly person, please tell us what's going on. People don't want to hear from us what's going on, because it would spoil their illusion. And principally, everyone came to the material world not looking for Krishna. They came here looking for illusions. Find the best possible illusion you can get. Therefore, transcendental knowledge is meant to destroy our doubts. Doubts that we're eternal. Wouldn't it be nice if you woke up one day and you realized you're eternal? It's probably said that just like you're in prison for a long, long time, and then suddenly they say you're free, you can leave the prison. How happy you feel. But sometimes the conditioned soul, he's given the chance to leave the material existence, but he's afraid to do it. It's like a bird in a cage. They open the cage and the bird walks out of the cage. He looks around and he gets anxiety. He's thinking the cage is protecting him from this cruel outside world. And therefore he rapidly gets back into the cage and hopes that the owner will close the door so he'll be safe again. So we're taking this material world as our ashraya, as our shelter, and we're afraid that if I become too spiritual, I won't have the shelter of the material existence, especially my body. Although the body is darashaya, is not a very good shelter, because it only lasts for a very short period of time. Hare Krišna, Papi. She's there. Feeling separation, she's considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Yes. We get bound by material conceptions. So, if we're actually, the thing is we don't have to worry about all our material attachments and conceptions. We simply have to try to focus our attention on Krishna, and gradually these things will go away. Because Krishna is unlimitedly blissful, and just even a slight consciousness of Krishna will feel blissful, even a little bit. All we do is when we hear and chant, try to concentrate on the hearing and chanting, and try to be without anxiety. Don't accept the fact that we can actually relax a little bit and hear the holy name. And if we hear the holy name, the ceiling will not fall upon us. One doesn't follow the other. If I listen too carefully, I hear the ceiling shaking, I better stop paying attention. Probably it won't fall on us. We actually become, what to speak of, we become blissful or ecstatic, still the building will still maintain itself and won't fall on us. And then, when we'll become factually situated in the self. In other words, if we do our activities in consciousness of Krishna, that everything here is under Krishna's control. He wants us to become Krishna conscious. He's very happy when we think about him. And when we understand everything, that's knowledge. Everything here is perfectly under Krishna's control. We don't have to worry about anything. We just have to worry about thinking about Krishna. That's our only duty. Act for Krishna and think about Krishna, and then we'll actually be situated with Krishna. And then whatever we're doing, we don't have to worry about what the results will be. Because most people don't worry about the results, because they have no idea what the results are going to be. They're worried about the results. People work, they go to a job, they don't think, I'm doing this out of love for my boss. They don't have boss prema. My dear boss, I'm in love with you. You don't have to pay me anything for the next month. I'm just smile at me and I'll be happy. No, people are going to work because they want some result. Nowadays, of course, most people, they just want to get enough to pay for the bills and a little extra for enjoyment. To go to the movies and watch someone who doesn't work so hard like they do. And identify with them in their imagination. That I could be James Bond or someone. Or Spider-Man or whatever the momentary escape from the illusory reality into another deeper illusion. But if one follows the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, chants Hare Krišna, tries to relax a little bit and listen, and chant to Krishna as if he was actually a person present before us, asking him lovingly to engage in his service, then the result is that one will be absorbed more and more in Krishna consciousness and feel more and more or less happiness in every stage of life, without any anxiety what the so-called future will be. Because factually there is no past, present, and future. In the past, people were eating, they were sleeping, they were mating and defending. And I can tell you, even in Slovenia right now, people are eating, they're sleeping, they're mating and defending. And I can predict, because I'm an astrologer, in 5 million years from now, people will be eating, they'll be sleeping, they'll be mating and defending. Therefore, there is actually no past, present, future, because the whole thing it just goes on in different ways. The same lust, anger, greed is there eternally in the material world and every species of life. The same madness and illusion is there everywhere. Nothing is really changing. Even there's summer, winter, fall in some way. Everything is more or less the same. But we're thinking that this time it's going to be different. This time when it's Christmas, then I'm going to get the gift of my lifetime. One-way ticket to the spiritual world. Thank you, Dad. What time does the Vaikuntha airplane leave? Probably not. But in one sense, yes, an invitation to the Hare Krišna movement, to the Sunday feast, is almost like going to Vaikuntha. Therefore, yoga sannyasa karmanam jnana sanchina samshayam atmavantam nakarmani nibbannati dhananjaya. Just imagine if some speaker told us we're eternal and we actually believed it. How happy we'd be. How much free from anxiety we'd be. If someone said that very shortly in this lifetime or very shortly after that, you're going to live in a place where you're going to be happy forever, in love with everyone. Even your worst enemy in this world right now, you'll be in love with them. Wouldn't that be nice? No. I like being envious and mad and distressed. That's my food. I don't know what I'd do if I was happy all the time. Who would I complain to? If everyone was happy all the time I was living with, I had no one to complain about. I wouldn't know what to do. If I know nothing to be anxiety about, then wouldn't life be boring? If everything was new and exciting all the time and more blissful, and I felt more love for Krishna and for everyone at every moment. There must be someone I hate there. There must be something that's going wrong there. I can fix. I can take credit for. So it's a little inconceivable in our present time, but anyhow, by practice of Krishna consciousness, we can get a little taste of the positive, and then we'll develop the positive, and gradually speaking, even what's so-called negative won't seem negative anymore. Because in the spiritual world, also people get angry. They even get angry at Krishna sometimes. But that's blissful, because it's out of love. They're hankering, but they're out of love for Krishna. So that the more they hanker for Krishna, the more they feel love for Krishna. And therefore it's ecstatic. And they lament that they don't have Krishna. So all the hankering and lamentation is there in the spiritual world too. But it's all blissful, and everyone's more and more, the more they hanker and lament for Krishna, then the more blissful they become. And Krishna hankers for his devotees, and he laments when he's separated from them also. Therefore, the whole this material world is just like an introduction to the spiritual world. The same things go on here, but they're just like shadows of the real thing. So the only difference is that when we become Krishna conscious, then we actually experience reality, but the same things will go on. As Prabhupada said, it's not that when we become Krishna conscious, then suddenly we get 4 heads instead of 1. Or that you get 4 arms or 6 arms. Someone walks into the temple room and they have 6 arms. Oh, he's actually become a pure devotee. He got 4 extra arms. He must have been really chanting his rounds good. Well. No, the same thing is there, but simply we'll be happy and blissful. And we'll realize what's actually how Krishna is the friend of everyone. He's my friend. He's my best friend. And if I just chant to him, then he'll reveal himself to me. We don't have to change the world. We don't have to worry about what's going on in the world. We just have to worry about what I'm doing in the world. So that's easier than trying to change the whole world. Change our consciousness. And do something for Krishna, under Krishna's directions and his representatives, and then everything will be all right. So we don't have to complicate our lives so much. We just have to engage in this simple process that Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us under Prabhupada's instruction, and gradually everything will be put into order again. Our lives will become, as Prabhupada said, sublime. So I'll stop there. Any questions? If you look at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here, he doesn't, how blissful he is. He's bringing Krishna back to Vrindavan. And everyone, because he's so blissful, everyone else is blissful too. Although he's crying, but it's not because he stubbed his toe somewhere. he's crying out of bliss, out of love for Krishna. And Krishna's, because he feels Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's love and the devotee's love, therefore Krishna is blissful too. Everyone's blissful. And Krishna is just as anxious to go back to Vrindavan. He's more anxious than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's. They're all both equally anxious to go to Vrindavan so they can enjoy their loving exchanges there forever. Okay, anything else? Thank you very much. Krandaraj Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Bol.